Hello, how's it going? You joined me on a gorgeous fall Sunday morning. I'm just getting this truggy ready for a rock and roll this morning. I woke up this morning and I said to myself, my golly gosh, I need to have a go of a truggy today. And I have two truggies and I thought to myself, this is the one I'm going to pick. So this one is an interesting one because it's a really good one. Don't know what nitro's left in there. I left a bit of nitro in there. That's a very bad thing to do. Don't ever do that, but do it all the time. Red's Diamond Edition, and yeah, it's a nice truggy. When I got a hold of it, I put in some, I can't remember if these servos came with it or not. I don't think they did. I think I bought these servos and put them in, and a Futaba receiver, and I put the Jamin JP2 exhaust on it. And I tell you what, it's probably the best truggy in the world. So I'm charging up the receiver battery as I speak to you at the moment, and then we're going to go and have a little bit of a blast around this morning. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything so good in all my life. There's been a bit of an explosion of questions about my bag, my toolbox, or whatever you want to call it, that I've been using for the past, I don't know, a couple of years, I suppose. Well, I bought this one from Answer RC, and they done an S-Works one as well, but that was out of stock, and I said, can you get me one? I really want one of them. And they said, well, we do this one here, the HB Racing one, and it's a far better bag, it's a better finish, and it's just better all around. Why don't you get this one? So I said, alright then, I'll take your advice, and I got it. And I can't comment whether it is better than the S-Works one because I didn't get the S-Works one. However, this one is fantastic. I used to have a backpack, and for many years I focused on a backpack, for the reason being, at that point in my life I used to go around with a backpack on. You know, put the nitro in the backpack, a little toolbox in the backpack, and I could just walk around, because most of my time with a nitro car was walking. But these days times have changed and I'm a different person. I've grown up. Now I drive around to different places. So, you know, I don't need a backpack as such. I have still got a backpack, and I use that if I'm walking somewhere, if I go on a bike and take the car somewhere on a bicycle. But this is brilliant because I can just put this in the boot of the car, and then, you know, it's got everything there, and I can just put it, and I can just access everything in from the boot of the car, sort of thing. I don't need to mess around with the backpack undoing zips and getting stuff out to get to what's at the bottom and things like that. So yeah, this is great, man. So you know, you can probably get them, well, you can definitely get them from other shops, but I recommend that you go to Answer RC because they've been really good to me over the years. I'm by no means their #1 shopper, nowhere near, but they've been great to me, and you know, the more people I can push in their direction, the better. And I reckon, you know, you won't be let down if you was to get this. If you're one of the people that asked a question, or you're curious about the little bag that I have, there you go. Go to Answer RC and have a look at it. And if you do go there, mention that you come from here, come from me, and anything good comes out of it, I'll definitely pass on to all of you viewers, subscribers, and channel members. The same for any shop. Yeah, if you hear of a shop from me and you buy something from them, mention me. Anything good that comes out of it, I will definitely pass on to you lot. Anyway, this battery will be charged relatively soon, so I'm going to go and get ready and go and have a lovely day. I'll catch you later on when we'll probably have another look at something else. So you never know, we might be doing a bit of a repair. You never know how the day's going to go, dear. I'll see you in a minute. For you it'll be a millisecond, for me it'll be a day. Right. Well, I filmed that first bit probably, it was last week sometime, about a week ago. And I think at the end of it I said, who knows what's going to happen, maybe we'll have a breakdown or something like that. Well, I tempted fate a couple of times when I was running this truggy, and fate turned around and said, okay, bit me. Nah. Got a bit of an issue with the engine, so I think let's take it apart. Now what I've done is I've Managed to lose a buggy, by the way. I've got the shell to my MP9 and the 2 R clips that hold the shell on. But what's happened to the MP9? I haven't got a clue. Last time I know I had it was I took it out for a run. Unless I left it there. I ain't got a clue. So I've lost a buggy somewhere. But anyway, back to the point. What I done today was, because this broke ages ago. Now, what I did today was, I haven't even taken it apart yet, but I phoned up the best and the one and only shop to go to when you need parts for one of these types of engines. Answer RC. I phoned them up and I said, dude, can you get parts for a Red's R Series engine? And they said, yeah, you can. Much of the things are still the same now as they were back then. So yeah, you can get parts. It does depend on what you need, but you can get parts for it. So I said, that is absolutely brilliant. So let's take it apart. Let's see what's gone wrong with it. Because it might not be anything major, or it could just be, it could need a full rebuild. You don't know until you take it apart. It does turn over quite well, but there was a lot of vibration and a ticking sound when it was running before it wouldn't run anymore. So there we go. So let's get in a little bit closer, take it apart, see what the problem is. And I'm going to have a sip of my coffee, because what I always do is I come out here and I take one of these with me just for something to drink, something to break things up, because sometimes you come across something that's a little bit stubborn. Might be a stubborn bolt, a rusted bolt, a stripped bolt, something which you think to yourself, bloody thing, and a break, you know, just having a bit of a drink. That's a break, you know, you can stand back and go, ah, yeah, okay. And then you go back to whatever you're doing with a bit of a fresh eye. And then often things just work after a little bit of a break. That's what I find anyway. Anyway, come on, let's go and have a look at this. Right, so I've got a little bit of a cluttered bench. I have to get rid of bloody PB blaster and all kinds of things everywhere. Right, so yeah, I can hear you lot asking me. I can hear you in the background. I can hear you. Where's John? Where's Johnny Boy? And where's Manuel? Where's Sarah? Where's Margaret? All of them I don't know. Right, if I did know, I'd tell you. But I don't know where they are. Let's... You know, it don't feel that bad. The annoying thing is I'm going to have to take these exhaust springs off. But I don't know what was the matter with it. Half of me wants to fire it up now, you know that. There's no clunking or nothing. There's no like... There's no banging, there's no clattering. What was that noise though? Ah! I found out what it was. Look, the head. The head's loose. Can you see that? So there is nothing wrong with the engine. So I reckon I'm jumping to a conclusion here and we're going to see if I'm right. I think the head came loose. Hopefully all the bolts are still in there because I haven't got any of those. The head came loose. That's what, and the what I thought was a ticking sound was just the sound of the compression and the fire coming out. Sometimes little O-rings make a when they're loose and the bit is going past them. Right, look at that, loose. I reckon that came loose, and then when I tried to fire it up, and I felt all the vibration because I put the glow starter in the top there, pushed down on the starter box, and I felt a load of vibration coming through the glow starter. Right, so I thought, right, that's it. I reckon the vibration was simply just the head popping up and down. Right, so what we'll do then, normally if it was just me, just, you know, out and about, I'd do them bolts up again and forget about it. But because you're here, what we'll do, and I suppose it is a wise thing to do, we'll take all these bolts out. We'll make sure that the little O-ring, the little sealing O-ring, all these are loose, man. For those of you that don't know, when I bought this, the head was off of it. Was the head off of it? Or am I making this up? I might be making this up, you know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the head was off of it and I had to put the head on. So I certainly... So yeah, you can see where that was going loose, and you can see all that there. That's all unburnt, or it is oil, you know, it's all oil. Now hopefully, yeah, this little rubber gasket has definitely seen better days, and as a result of that head coming loose, it's not a lot of cop anymore. The button, let's take the whole sleeve wants to come out. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's not ideal. It's not what I want to happen, to be honest, but I don't really want the sleeve to come out. Let's take the glow plug out, and we might be able to, probably should have taken the glow plug out before. Don't really want the whole sleeve to come out with it though. That's a bit of a pain. There we go. Oh yeah, you can see that must have been going loose for quite some time, and it's been spitting oil out. Look, it's all over the place. There's the little copper ring which sets the gap between the button and the liner for compression. Let's put that sleeve back in. At least the sleeve's not stuck in there. Right, so you can see how long this was going on for. Let's get a bit of that. Let's clean this engine up. I'm quite relieved that I haven't got to mess around taking this manifold. Well, I'm probably going to speak too soon now, but let's clean this up. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to get on to Answer tomorrow. Well, in fact, I'll send them a text now. They're shut because it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening, but I'll send them a text, and sometimes they answer, but other times they wait until they're at business hours, you know. That feels like a lovely liner though. Brilliant. Right, we'll give all this a clean up. Got another little copper washer there. Now the question is, why did those bolts come loose? I mean, I'm pretty sure I definitely would have tightened them nice and tight. Maybe the threads have had it. It could be the reason why it was parked up, because remember, this was parked up when I bought this from that subscriber. It was parked up for quite some time in his shed. Maybe the reason why he parked it up was because the head bolts kept coming loose. You never know. You never ever know. So we've got, how many copper washers have we got? 1, 2, 3 little copper washers on there. Now what I might do, and some of you lot are going to be shouting now, no, 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 3 is the right amount. 3 is the amount that you need. Well, just while I'm here, and I like to mess around, I'm going to remove 1. And we'll raise up that compression, and that's cock. And we'll see what goes on. So we'll take out 1. Or should I not? I know you're all shouting at the screen, and if you shout loud enough, I will be able to hear you. You know, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you shout loud enough, I will be able to hear. I mean, I can hear Sarah back there snoring. Why are you sitting in the back seat, Sarah? if you're falling asleep, you know. Perhaps you should move closer to the front, and then you'd stay awake. Anyway, I'm going to put this on here just for now. And what I'm going to do, I will clean that up. Give that a good old cleany weenie. I'm just going to take some photographs because they like it when I send them pictures of the engines and stuff. Answer RC do. So I'm going to take some pictures of everything. Well, hopefully I just need this. I need one of these at the very least, because this has completely had it. Look, that's all ripped where the bolts, where the bolt holes are, but around the edge as well. That's where it's been firing out the side as it's been getting looser and looser. It must have just got to a point where it just got so loose it wouldn't run anymore, and that's what happened. Right, take a few pictures and I'll be back. Just spending a little bit of time cleaning this head and just getting things as clean as I can. Now, I'm happy that the bottom end, well, the top end and the bottom end, all of it, I'm happy that it's all right, and I'm fairly certain that ticking and, you know, the little bit of vibration was to do with the head being as loose as it was, and that little rubber seal being knackered as a result. Now, why the bolts don't want just, well, they didn't stay in, it could be anyone's guess. I probably just didn't tighten them tight enough, or I should have checked them, because I ran it once and it was fine. That time at the weekend when I ran it, that was the second time I'd ever ran it, and you know, I probably should have checked them. But the threads seem okay, do you know what I mean? They don't seem loose. They don't seem like there's anything wrong with them. Maybe I probably should get the air. You can't see all the way from over there, but there's a bit of goo coming up around the threads as I'm doing it up. Now, what you need to be careful of is, let me show you. You'll have to excuse the very poor lighting around here at the moment, but what you need to be careful of, and this goes for these bolts on heads like this, but also any bolt that you're doing up that doesn't go through to the other side, is, look, can you see there's some goo coming out from around those threads, right? That's as I push that bolt in by doing it up. It's pushing that up around the threads. Now, if there's anything in these holes, goo, nitro, water, swoosh, dirt, grease, anything, obviously as the bolt goes in, it's going to bottom out on that stuff before it starts to pull down on the head or whatever it is it's tightening. And you're going to be tightening that bolt up against whatever's in the bottom of that hole. Now, that can cause you an issue in a couple of ways, because obviously you're not going to get whatever it is you're trying to tighten up, in this case a head, to be as tight as it should be, because the bolt can't go in any further because it's hitting, the bottom of it is hitting on whatever's in the hole. That's one of the problems. The other problem is you can ruin the threads or the bolt, or do all kinds of damage to the threads and the bolt and anything, because you're trying to get it tight. You're probably looking at whatever it is you're trying to tighten up and you're going, it's not bloody tightening, should go tighter, but the bolt's tight, why ain't the thing going tighter? And then you'll end up stripping threads and doing other damage. So that is bad. And you know, when you're putting thread lock on, for example, you shouldn't, and I'm guilty of this because generally I don't generally care unless it's something important. I'm a little bit slap happy. You'll not probably know that by now. But when you're putting a bit of thread lock on, you just put a little bit on the end of the thread there, just a little bit. So as it goes through the threads, it pulls it all up the thread, and that's how you want it. If you put a great big dollop on it, as you're putting it in there, in the hole there, it's going to do the same thing. Look how much come out of there. Let's see how much comes out of this next one. See, look, nothing there yet. There might not be anything come out of it. Oh, I can see a little bit. Look, it's starting to work its way up. Look. Starting to work its way up. All that goo in there. That's a problem. So, you know, oh dear, oh, I just dropped it in there. I don't do it every time. In fact, I hardly ever clean them holes out. But you should clean those holes out. And a good way of doing it is getting compressed air and blowing it in the hole, keeping your face out of the way because it will come straight back up in your face. Blowing all the crap out of those holes, yeah? If you haven't got any compressed air, use, I don't know, tip it upside down and put a bit of paper in there or something. Make sure you don't get paper stuck in the bottom of the hole though. Try and get it out any way you can without damaging the threads, basically, is what I'm saying. Little bit of air, be careful with it because it's just a little hole. This gun's a bloody pain in the ass. Trying to do a little bit with this gun is you can't. It's a bloody pain in the ass. I got another gun, and you can do little bits. It's like it's perfect, but I don't know where it is. I've lost it somewhere. I lose everything recently. Right, here we go. Try and get a little bit of air in there. Whee! Look how much come out. All that is coming out of them holes. You know, and that could stop that bolt going all the way in and tightening the head. Could have been the reason why it weren't tight and the bolts come out in the first place. Compressor's running out of battery. It's a battery powered compressor, that is, believe it or not. My real compressors, I've had to put it somewhere else, have it? So I'm using this battery powered one. And it's running out of battery. It's not, well, it's a good compressor, it's just very small. Look how much is coming out of there, loads. I'm assuming that these are bottomed. They must be bottomed. You lot are probably all laughing at me now because these holes probably aren't even bottomed. They probably go right through the block. No, they can't do. They can't do, can they? Anyway, regardless of whether these holes are bottomed or not, there's probably a real name for a bottomed hole. Regardless of whether they are or not, what I just said is still fact. Right. There we go. That's that clean. I'm satisfied. Oh, there's a bit left in there, but that'll do good. Running out of air anyway. That's all good. So what I'm going to do, I did have some. See, this was going to be me. This was going to be me donor engine, not donor engine, but this was going to be this B3 was going to be the one that I was going to put in here in the meantime if I needed to rebuild this reds. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have to. This B3 has got brand new liner and piston and conrod in it. I think I ran it. I think I started it up. Did I run it? Can't remember if I ran it. The other B3 I ran, but this one can't remember if I did or not. I was going to put this in there, but at the minute this engine hasn't got a buggy to go in or anything to go in. I sold it to a channel member. Anyway, yeah, let's get a bit of oh, well, I've got what's it called? what's it called? After run oil, but I don't know where it is. So we use a bit of 3-in-1 just to lube up this liner, just so the liner and the piston are lubed up, because this engine's going to stay open now. So I've sent Answer RC a message. Obviously they haven't replied because it's gone 8 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. They're well and truly shut. But to be fair, there's absolutely no pinch left on that liner at all. I mean, I can just move that up and down. Shouldn't be like that. I mean, look, a lot of you lot have said to me this engine's probably worn out, but it ran so well. It was amazing, right? But there's no pinch on that liner at all. Not a dicky bird. I'm amazed that it actually runs as well as it does. It probably is worn out. Well, there's no doubt. I don't think it's worn out, but it's definitely worn. You know, half of me wants to, while I'm at it, half of me wants to just say, look, can you get me a liner, a piston and rod, and I'll do a rebuild on it when I got it apart. But I can't afford to do that, and it means I have to fanny around with these springs. They're the wrong springs. They're Nova springs, and they didn't fit, and they were bloody difficult to get on. But I did it. But yeah, there's no pinch on that. Anyway, we'll forget about that for now, because it did run so well. We'll forget about the pinch. As I say, we're going to get a new, whatever you call that. I call it a gasket, but a rubber gasket. Some people probably call it an O-ring. I don't know, but I call it a rubber gasket. So I'm going to get a new one of these from the best shop in the world. And that will be that. Well, we'll see how it runs. I'll probably put it back together and it'll probably clatter and clunk, and I'll find out that it wasn't that after all. But it definitely feels. Let's put that in there, look. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any play on that bottom end at all. You'd be able to feel it. Oh, well, you wouldn't because you're inside the camera, but I'd be able to feel it if there was any play in that bottom end. Or in the top for that matter. And there's absolutely nothing. As I said, there's no pinch, but there we go. Right, wait for parts now, I suppose. Right, so the way that I do things, in case you've stumbled across this video, if I've got the parts, I'll do it all in one go, but I want to get this video out. Plus, I like giving you lot a chance to comment. Yeah, I don't always agree with what a lot of you say, because at the end of the day I'm here with this and you're not, but you know, you can comment, what do you think? You know, I'm not going to rebuild it because I can't afford to, but a lot of you would definitely take it apart and put a new liner and piston in it. Anyway, all comments are completely welcome, totally welcome in fact, and I like reading them. And hopefully, what's today, Tuesday, tomorrow I'll order the rubber gasket. We might get it by the weekend. Answer RC are normally very, very good at posting things very quickly and normally turn up next day. They use roll mail, which is the best way of sending anything. So it should hopefully turn up by the weekend, and we'll be able to put this together and go and take it for a run at the weekend. So thanks for watching. Oh, bit of a what do you call it? Not a sneaky peek because you can't see anything, but a bit of a sneaky peek. There's going to be, if you're a beginner or maybe you just want to watch something in the beginner series, there's coming up soon, I'm going to start a series with a brand new Nitro car. Brand new. It was delivered today. Because there's no shops around anymore. I can't physically go to a shop and buy anything, so I had to order it. But anyway, there's going to be to go with the series for beginners, and also I'm going to try and get this particular car into the schools. For those of you that don't know, I'm trying to get Nitro RC taught in schools. I'm trying to get it on the curriculum. They do design technology and soldering and things like that, so why can't they do small low-level mechanics using a Nitro car? Do you know what I mean? It's an engine after all, and it's a very good skill to have. So using this car that was delivered today, I'm going to be doing a series for beginners from very start to the very end. Yeah, unboxing all the little things you need to know, everything that needs to be done in detail, not quick brushing over. There's going to be detail all the way up to fully fledged, running, tuned, going after some fun. And yeah, I'm going to try and use that car. I'm going to take it to some schools. I'm not getting very far with the old emailing them. I email the schools and I don't really get much of a response. So I'm going to actually take a car to the schools, say to the headmaster or the headmistress, look at this. Your pupils could be learning massive skills from this little car, and you've got very little things to adapt to. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. I'm excited to get this up and running again because I love this truggy. I was having so much fun with this before it blew up. Well, it didn't blow up, did it? Just started leaking out of the head. See you later. Just like that, I'm back. So I didn't get a chance to put this video together yesterday, otherwise you would have seen it by now. I phoned up Answer RC today to see if I could get one of these little seals, and they said, yeah, we don't have them in stock, but we can get them. And I said, alright then, that sounds good. And then they said, you know, these are an optional extra thing, don't you? And I said, what do you mean? What's the benefit then if they're an option? They said, well, it's just a dust seal. So basically, on the Novas or any other engine, you have like a little rubber O-ring that goes on there, and that's supposed to stop any dust or, you know, ingressing into the engine, dust and dirt. Well, I was thinking to myself, surely then the head should be sealed. The head should be done up tight and sealed. That way, that's how the compression stays in, the fire and everything stays in. And then they replied with another message and said they're a complete option. They don't come out the factory with that fitted. It's, you know, an option that you can buy and put it on, especially with the earlier engines. The newer ones don't have anything at all. So I thought, right, well then, let's just ignore it and put it back together. So I think what I'm going to do, it doesn't matter anything whether the condition that it's in, so I'm going to put it back on anyway as it is, because it doesn't matter. I could put it on without it, or I could put it on with it. I'm going to put it on with it to see what happens, and if the bolts come loose again or the engine doesn't run very well, I'll take it off and see what happens. But it's just a dust seal. It doesn't actually do anything, you know, as far as the engine is concerned, with it running. So I'm going to put it all together, we'll fire it up and see if it runs, and if it runs any good. And you know, there might still be other issues, I don't know yet, but we're going to find out. So I haven't got a lot of time this evening. By the time I finished filming this yesterday evening, it was nearly 10 o'clock in the evening, and I was absolutely knackered. And we're getting on for that sort of time as tonight as well. It's the only trouble when you bloody work. I'm doing 14 hours works days. 14-hour days at work at the moment. And by the time I get home, blooming, you know what I mean, it's time to go to bed, more or less. So anyway, let's get this together and then we'll fire it up. Come on. So the head's back on. I'm just doing the bolts up, and I say this every time, but just as a reminder, remember, when you're doing head bolts up or anything that has to go down to make any type of seal or do anything like that, try to do them in a bit of a cross pattern if you can, because then that brings the sealing surface or the flange or the head or whatever it is you're doing, it brings it down evenly, and that way you shouldn't get any type of leakage. You know, it should all be fine and dandy then. So do them in a cross pattern, don't go around in a circle, and nip them up a little bit each time, and we should be all fine and dandy then. I am hoping that the threads are okay on this block, because it was interesting why the bolts came loose in the first place. I mean, of course there's a chance that I just didn't do them up very tight when I put the head on, but I did run it, didn't I? I ran it for a fair amount of time and it was alright. I should have checked them after, so I'll have to do that after we've ran it. Next time I'll check them to make sure they're okay. Let's put the glow plug in. Let's make sure the glow plug is still working, which it should be. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. I was going to order some glow plugs from Answer when I made the order for the things, but well, I haven't needed to, so I won't need to get any glow plugs. But I might still have to, because I haven't got any red glow plugs. I've only got Nova plugs, and Nova plugs only fit in Novas, believe it or not. So, oh, we've got compression again now, that's for sure. Right, let me go and get the starter box and we'll fire it up. Right, we'll give it a nice heat up. Now the last time that when I ran it, when I was driving it the other day and the head come loose, I didn't even do really a quarter of a tank. Only done a little bit. But we'll see. It's got some fuel that was left in it from months ago. I think it's tornado fuel, it's 25%. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to run it for very long at the moment. I just want to see if it fires up and see if it makes any noises it shouldn't really be making. Because it was making a bit of a ticking sound, wasn't it? And it was vibrating a hell of a lot. So we'll see whether it does any of this. And if it doesn't, then we'll go for a run. But if it does, obviously then we'll have to take it apart. This is a proper nice truggy. I probably like this truggy. It's really cool. That should be enough heat for now. Got it all turned on. Probably should give it a little bit of a prime. Give it a little bit of fuel. There we go. That tornado fuel tastes different to all the other ones. Right. Let's see what we got. Don't think there was much. It sounded like it primed. Didn't prime. Here we go. Well, I don't know what's wrong with that. I think we got away with that one. I think we definitely got away with that one. By the way, I did take, just for pure fun to see what kind of difference it would make, I took one of the little copper washers from underneath the button, so we should have slightly more compression now as well. There was 3 before and now there's 2. Now I don't know what the ratio should be and how many of these you should use, but I run 25% nitro. I don't know with these engines how many of these washers, because what you can do is you put the right amount of these in for the percentage of nitro that you're using, so you've got the correct compression ratio for the percentage of nitro that you're using. But I don't know what the red ones are. So there was 3 before. I don't know what it was set up for, if it was 20% or 25% or 30%, I don't know. But I've taken one out, so there's now 2. And I'm going to see how it runs. It ran really well just then. So anyway, now I know that it isn't knocking, it isn't making any weird noises. It seems to be running quite well. When the weekend turns up again, we'll go and give it a bit of a blast. Now there'll be some of you that were probably screaming at the screen before, you know, that's just a little dust seal, you don't need that anyway. Well, I've put it in. I didn't know if I needed it. In my opinion, if it's there, it must be there for a reason. That's why I thought I'd just get a new one. But Answer RC, they said to me, you don't even need it. It's just a dust seal. It's alright without it anyway. But I've put the old one in just because it was there before, and the fact that it's ripped to shreds really isn't going to make a difference, because if it's okay without it, then surely it's okay with it just a ripped one. I don't know, but we'll see. If it doesn't run very well, I can always take it apart, take that seal out and put it back together again when I'm out and about, can't I? It's all about trying. Right, little bit of a sneaky peek. Yesterday I hadn't unboxed this yet, but I've unboxed it now, so this is what I'm going to be using. One of these. Little bit of a sneaky peek for you lot that could be bothered to watch to the end of this video. So this is just a generic, well, it's not generic, it's a HSP. Now HSP have been around for 30 or more years. They're considered as a cheap, not very good brand for nitro cars. But the thing is, if most people, if they're going to want to get into nitro, they're not going to want to spend 400, 500, 600, £700 on a Kyosho or a HPI or anything like that we would consider to be mainstream brand. They're going to go on websites such as, you know, the ones, and buy something that's about 200 quid. And, you know, so that's why I'm going to use that as my... No, I haven't even undone the box yet. It's still in its box. It's going to be from literal start, the minute you get it, to finish, more or less, beginner's guide. I've got a whole beginner's guide on this channel, loads of videos, but they don't go from start to finish, brand new in the box to ready and running around. I've been using my existing cars, and I've been using the Kyosho MP9 and things like that. I did use an FTX Carnage for a little while, but when the prices of those went through the roof, and I thought they're not worth it anymore, so I stopped promoting those. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get one of the ones that people are actually probably going to be buying and go from there. So if that tickles you, or if you know someone that might be handy to them, stick around, think about subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Can't wait to go and get this running again. Well, it is running. Get it driving around again and see how it runs. I'm really intrigued to see how it's going to run with one less copper ring, and if it seems to respond to that really, really well, I will go down the route of taking another one out to see if I can gain a little bit more compression, because there's no pinch left on that engine at all, but it runs like a bloody dream. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Take care. Don't take people for granted, because that would make you down to their level. Treat people nicely and accept people for who they are, unless they're a paedophile or a rapist or something like that, then they just deserve to be ignored. But we need to have a nice, happy life together. See you later. Take care.